My name is Ryan Sprague. When I was 12 years old, my father and I stared up into the night skies, and we saw something extraordinary staring back. And whatever it was sent me on a search to find answers to the UFO phenomenon and beyond. And that search continues somewhere in the skies. Coming to you from SpectreVision Radio, the Somewhere in the Skies podcast features conversations, interviews, and roundtable discussions with scientists, scholars, historians, pop culture figures, and prominent UFO researchers. We also hear directly from you, the listeners, about your personal UFO sightings and encounters. Lastly, we bring you fascinating and engaging case histories. Each week is something different and truly unique. Somewhere in the Skies doesn't seek to just entertain. We seek the truth. We bring new questions and theories to the table. We bring new voices to the discussion. And we attempt to possibly find some answers to those mysteries that lay somewhere in the skies. New episodes are every Monday through SpectreVision Radio on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Kelly Chase. 4 years ago, my life cracked open. I experienced something I couldn't explain, and I haven't stopped chasing it since.
And I'm J. Christopher King. I've been having anomalous experiences my whole life. This work, it's not just what I do, it's who I am.
This season on Cosmosis, we're going into the field, to places where the veil is thin and where the signal of the phenomenon breaks through. We're meeting the researchers, experiencers, and witnesses who live in its wake.
From UFOs to near-death experiences, from cryptids to channeling, we're diving into the high strangeness that challenges everything we think we know. Because reality isn't just weird, it's weirder than you can imagine.
We don't know what we'll find, but we're going to follow the signal wherever it leads. And we're taking you with us.
Be sure to follow us on Spotify so you never miss an episode of Cosmosis, coming to you from SpectreVision Radio.
SpectreVision Radio.
Telemetry and launch condition.
Well, some other observers.
Hey, it's late night.
It's late night on the astral plane, where it's never too late. With your host, Ryan Singer.
It's more fun to believe.
Paranormal Corp is the industry leader in all things paranormal. Paranormal Corp is dedicated to bringing you, the consumer, the best in all paranormal equipment, foodstuffs, and experience. With the most stringent and rigorous quality control standards, Paranormal Corp provides the highest quality of paranormal goods and services. Need a scary but not too scary ghost for your child's 4th birthday party? We've got you covered with the underworld's largest roster of deceased entertainers, all available for booking now. Looking for the perfect dining set for your haunted mansion? Paranormal Corp sources from only the finest of possessed ceramics and china. Don't forget that we also staff the world's leading professionals for on-site therapists, teachers, and surrogate parents for those who need a break from the everyday rigors of the living world. Paranormal Corp is your one-stop everything and everyday source for anything you need and everything your future corpse could want. The one thing the living and the dead both agree on. If you want to feel alive, call Paranormal Corp today.
666-666-6666.
Hey everybody, thank you for taking another voyage on Late Night on the Astral Plane with your buddy Ryan Singer. We are so happy to have you here, and I'm extremely excited. Coming to us from parts unknown, back to the show for the first time on the new format, we got Jessica. We were catching up a little bit before we started recording. I can't wait to have this conversation and see where it goes. Thank you so much for coming back. How have you been?
I've been really good, Ryan, and it's so exciting. I'm really stoked on the new show in the format like we were talking about. But yeah, really happy to be here and thanks for having me back on.
Of course, of course. And as always, I have to do a big shout out to Paranormal Corp, your home for all things paranormal and also everyday living. They service all the needs of the living and the dead. So if you are living or dead and you need anything, Paranormal Corp they've got you covered. They also obviously bring you Paranormex, the breakthrough drug that bridges the spirit and the physical world. So big shout out to Paranormal Corp for all that work. Groundbreaking, building a bridge with pills. Wow, who would have thought? I can't believe I'm promoting paranormal pills on the show. Anyway, so back to the real stuff. We've got like a lot of ground to potentially cover because you've been on an amazing journey since the beginning of us getting to know each other. And
yeah,
it seems, according to you, it seems that journey is very surprising, even to you, oftentimes, about where and how, when, and why.
Yep. Always surprised with the warehouse, the winds and the whys, the winding weird path. Yeah, I think you were really like the launching pad. And for anyone who isn't familiar, I work in somatics and I channel an entity that goes by the name of Oscar. And there's a whole lore within that world that we can touch if we need to. But I'm also a biologist. So I work really in like the regulatory field. And I found myself in like this incredibly like honest, like what word would I use to describe it? Like I feel really privileged because I get to work on behalf of a lot of First Nation groups in Canada, helping to figure out what rights are being impacted by their people with their treaties, and it's different. It's just been absolutely amazing, but it's very jarring to have gone from when we met. I was leaving that world and doing just somatics and really focused on the spiritual nature of my life. And then I shifted abruptly in 2023 back to like very structured, rigid government regulations, science. And now I'm again just trying to like find that middle ground. And my God, Buddhism has never left my side since I learned about it at like the ripe age of 17. And that's the one framework that I can kind of come back to and go, everything makes sense if I look at it from here.
Wow.
But yeah, does that answer? Did you ask the
it's
question or did
well,
I look?
Well, it's kind of like a pendulum swing that you're describing, right? And which is pretty fascinating. And between physicalism and spiritualism and the material and the immaterial, and it seems like but you're always somewhat, if you have those two sides of the pendulum, the middle of it is like that liminal space. So it's like you're anchored in the liminal, and you swing to each side.
Yeah, and like the other fascinating thing, and again, I'm working with like a few individuals from different communities, so I'm not getting the whole picture in any sense of the words, but knowing that a lot of these First Nation groups have like a deep, rich like spiritual culture, each community being very different in their belief systems, and like knowing that, well, the right that they might be feeling is impacted is that, well, that river lost the spirit that used to be in it. But if they say that to the government of Canada, the government of Canada is not going to take that seriously in any way, shape, or form. So then they have to find a way to like prop up their their rights in a way that the government will understand and listen to. Does that make sense? So that there's all of this spirituality in there, but it's also not really mine to bring forward or interpret.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
it
it is
feels
that
like
is
there's like,
interesting. Yeah. I mean, are you
yeah.
helping with the translation? I mean, as like a spy on the other side,
Mm.
so to speak?
Um, to to uh to an extent, but a lot of these communities have big trust issues, even with the consultants that they've hired, because the yucky thing about environmental consulting is it's still a money machine, right? So what you find, especially in Canada, is like the consulting firms that make a lot of money are the ones that are willing to write reports that say what the client wants the report to say, to put
Ah,
it lightly. So a lot of the time, the big oil corporation will have a consultant, and that consultant will put out the paper that says things in a way that makes it so the company can keep doing what it's been doing without any consequences. And that's not like a hidden thing, but for people that aren't in the industry, they don't know
yeah.
that stuff goes on. So when it comes to outsiders coming into a community, you really need to build that trust, and it can be very easily lost, especially with such traumatized demographics. Yeah.
Yeah, I could only imagine. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it seems like very dicey work, and not to mention the challenges of trying to, you have a large group of people trying to communicate in a different language, essentially.
Hmm.
Well, quite
Yeah.
literally and figuratively, I think with like
Yeah.
form and style and actual content.
Exactly. And like there are folks in a lot of those groups that they don't speak English. So they're not going to read and interpret some paper that the oil company did up. So, but yeah, it is really interesting knowing that like it was earth-based cultures that like saved my life and opened my eyes. So trying to assist earth-based societies and cultures, but from the scientific space, it's like a really interesting place to be in. I feel like I'm right where I need to be and right where I'm supposed to be. Um, the nice thing I would say, like compared to 7 years, 5 years ago, it doesn't feel really grandiose, which I'm taking as like a really good sign. I feel like when I like first came into channeling, especially, I don't know anyone that starts channeling that doesn't feel grandiose at the beginning of that because it is a grandiose feeling. But
Could you
it all
imagine being
feels
like, oh my
very
God, I
easy.
just realized I am a channeler, but it's kind of meh. It's kind of no
It's
big
meh.
deal. It's like a
Yeah.
really low level spirit that doesn't really have much to say other than wants to talk about baseball or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Pick up a channel from some person that like to hang out at Tim Hortons and have coffee every evening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that
Um,
is pretty funny to think about. Like just
yeah.
like, oh my God, I awakened to this really remarkable gift that is so
Yeah.
just mediocre of
Yeah. Oh, I do want to tell you though, because it was the coolest thing that I've ever gotten to like be a fly on the wall for, and I'll leave the community and I'll leave all names out. But I was way, 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 way up in northern Canada, and I overheard a couple of the community members mentioning like, oh, we'll call him Bill. That is not his name. Bill needed to call. We'll call him Elder Elder T. Bill needed to call Elder T because he was four-wheeling by this graveyard the other night and he felt something jump on his four-wheeler and he's been having nightmares every night since. And then I heard again that Bill saw something walking around outside of his house and he went to the window and it came over and it was made of shadow with white eyes.
oh,
And it scared him really bad. So then I'm fortunate for me, I got to hang out with who we're calling Elder T during this experience up in northern Canada. He was helping us out, and he got a phone call from Bill while I happened to be standing next to him, and is talking to him about, yeah, yeah, sometimes the spirits around that graveyard get a little antsy. He's like, you just really need to tell him, like, he's not welcome there. If he won't leave, like, just give me a call. I'll come get him out of there. And it was just this, like, most casual conversation about how a spirit from the graveyard, I don't know if it's pointing to someone who had passed or just like an entity that hangs around graveyards, hopped on the back of Buddy's four-wheeler, followed him home, and is now haunting him. So
Unbelievable.
like,
Just like
yeah,
like taking a
yeah,
joyride. I mean, like
yeah,
it. I think it speaks to something on a deeper level, right?
yeah,
The when you talk about the casual nature of the conversation,
yeah.
right? And in I guess traditionally what we would call, I guess, the Western materialistic world that's,
Mm-hmm.
hyper focused on physicalism, it's, these conversations aren't so casual on the mainstream. Now, there are
Mm-hmm.
these kinds of casual conversations amongst small, tight-knit groups of people all over the place who believe and have experienced such things, but culturally, it's not casual.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In like that, like mainstream culture. Very interesting.
That's an
Yeah,
interesting
it.
idea, though, that it's like,
Yeah,
the paranormal is culturally casual in a more spiritualistic based community.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so casual. People were telling me that because this guy doesn't, Elder T doesn't like have a phone. You can't get a hold of him, and he lives way out, like a 2-hour boat ride into the bush. And people will go to him for sweat lodge or for healing, and he'll just have everything ready and know that you are coming without anyone ever telling him. Like, so that's just how connected he is. And yeah, it like when I get to meet folks like that, it's like, whoa, my life is really cool. Like, what an honor to get to even talk to this person. Like, those are my celebrities now. Like,
Right?
oh
I
my
mean,
God.
that's really, really
Yeah,
cool, though.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm 100% on board. That's
yeah,
really, really cool. I mean, some people never, I mean, there's a version of my life where I'm at like a BW3's or an Applebee's happy hour 2 or 3 times a week, right?
yeah,
And I've never, you know, gone on a single paranormal investigation or
yeah,
anything like that. And, and for what it's worth, that life is what it is, right? I,
yeah.
this version of me prefers this life, obviously, because it's the one I'm having. But
Hmm.
now, do you sense that, you know, considering how many twists and turns your life has taken and in swinging from one side of the pendulum to the other, do you sense that there were like a couple key moments where because I think some people are wondering, like, well, how can I live this life, maybe, or how can I be more open to the casual paranormal conversation? How can I
Hmm.
integrate that into like my everyday life to where it becomes casual as opposed to like something that's special or very, very unique to happen? Are there
Hmm.
key moments where you remember like, oh, I actually I put my foot down in the sand and I said, I'm pivoting and I'm digging in here.
Yeah, yeah. I think the first time I reached out to you saying like, "Hey, I've got an alien that wants to talk to you." That like moments like that, like for one, that was a pretty big one, but like I've I think a lot of the moments where I made those pivots, I had gotten so damn uncomfortable and so mired down and unhappy that the pivot needed to happen or I was going to go crazy. Nowadays, I'm still a fairly risk adverse person, but I will say yes and I will jump and I will definitely jump and I will definitely pivot if something scrapes up against my notions of integrity. I won't stay around it. So a
Yeah.
lot of the time that will be like the push. Like the last place that I worked as a biologist, they were racist and I was like, I gotta go. Like it's not happening. I'm out. And then I went to the company that is doing incredible work to support different nations and communities and has some people that just have really amazing hearts and souls behind it. So, but yeah, I'm still risk adverse though.
No, I mean,
I
it's
don't,
like,
yeah, I don't
it,
like to jump without knowing that there's somewhere my foot's gonna go.
right? Yeah, I mean, there
Hmm.
are many times where I'm like, I don't like to, I don't think any of us like to be told like, this is what you have to do, right? I think most of
Yeah.
us are that way, like, don't tell me what to do, like that kid instinct, right? And then there's other
Yeah.
times where I'm like, oh, I like actually following these particular rules or guidelines or whatever, right? And
Hmm.
it's not an all or nothing type of, nothing is an all or nothing thing.
Yeah. 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 I think taking things a little less seriously is also a good benefit. I think that's what my spirituality and like my spiritual nature, if I really touch it, it reminds me that it's not that heavy. Like, and we can kind of cross this bridge when we get there. It's a really good pun for what I'm going to talk about if we go there. Where like death isn't scary and death isn't bad. So therefore, the things that we're doing on the living plane, we probably could take a little less seriously.
That's
Where
a
this
big
feels
thing
like,
for me right now. Yeah.
yeah, if this feels like it's all there is, it's really dense and heavy, and holy shit, there's a lot riding on this.
Oh my gosh.
Where
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be like that, and that feels maybe incredibly callous and incredibly privileged to be able to say when there's atrocities happening in the world. What is the world? I don't know. Like, and I'm not saying that like it's, maybe it is callous and privileged to be able to say that it's not that serious, but I don't know.
Well, I
What
think
is
it's
your
that all
opinion
or
on that?
nothing thing again applies
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah.
I used to kind of call it like if I can just sit on my chair in the Milky Way galaxy and zoom out and look down, I can realize how meaningful and also meaningless everything is simultaneously. And
Hmm.
how it's just because something isn't a big deal doesn't mean it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And things can be multiple things simultaneously, maybe, and, hold,
Hmm.
seemingly contradicting definitions at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
get into that though, because to me that is so important.
Hmm.
And it's something that I think about all the time when I'll be sometimes I'll be sitting around and I'll just be like, oh my God, I want to like implode or explode because of
Yeah.
what I'm seeing and what's happening around me. And
Hmm.
it's overwhelming, right? Um and then I'll do
Hmm.
a meditation maybe, and if I'm lucky, I'll kind of get out of it a little bit. I'll be like, oh, this is just like a blink of an eye in an infinity of existence. And not that it doesn't matter, but it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this too shall pass, as they say. But that's not an excuse for being passive or inactive. I, I would
Hmm.
I would probably argue. But let's do a quick break, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about this bridge. And just as a reminder, you can listen to or watch these interviews, these episodes, without commercials. Every commercial is at least in the United States is a pharmaceutical drug, and I think people in other countries they're actually kind of shocked when they see American television. They're like, because you can't even buy the drug as a consumer. You have to get permission. Like all the commercials are for you to like ask your doctor. It's like, oh, I have to get permission to get the thing, and it's every commercial. It's insane if you because we've been watching some of the Olympics around the house, and it's all drugs. It's just mind boggling to me. But you don't have to worry about any of those if you go to patreon.com/Ryan Singer, $3 a month, no commercials ever. We're going to be right back with Jessica. And, I got to make sure we let Oscar know that I say hello. Oscar is like a prominent character or personality, whatever we want to call them in my life, ever since we've met. And it's just really, really cool. I highly suggest you go back and listen to some of those. Experience through 20, experience through 39, and experience 439, which is that's really cool. 100 episodes apart.
Woohoo.
The three previous times that Jessica and Oscar have popped on the show. But we're going to be right back after this short break, probably brought to you by Paranormal. And we're back. Okay, so I can't wait to see what unfolds here.
Yeah. I'm just gonna blow my
Because
nose really quick.
oh yeah, you go ahead and blow your nose, and I'll take that opportunity to let everybody know that, you know, I don't know if they had that commercial in here. I'm not exactly sure, but Paranormax, it's the pill that you can take to see ghosts and communicate with ghosts. In case you're the only one who everyone sees ghosts and talks to them except you. Well, now Paranormax is there for you, so you can jump in and actually talk to some of these maybe these relatives that have passed on or some other people or whatever. But
No more excuses.
no more excuses. Now you can see. So okay, so we're back. that's actually a perfect sponsor for what we're going to be
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about this bridge. So lay it out for me.
And just so you know, Oscar's like super here. So if there's anything for him, he's kind of showing like he's got like a baseball mitt. He's like, yeah, throw it over here.
Oh
Like
my
if
God, that's so
you
fun
want to
because
catch
baseball is
it.
starting and I'm so excited.
That's so funny. Yeah, I was like, I've really never seen him with a baseball glove, but he's just like over
That
here.
is,
Yeah,
I mean,
no, that's
Oscar
really
is
funny.
right on point because before we started recording, I was listening to a baseball radio show. I actually paused it to finish it later tonight.
That's
Because
amazing.
spring's training has started. So
Yeah.
Oscar's right on point as
hmm
usual. No surprise, Oscar.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll throw some ball around.
amazing.
Oscar and I sometime soon.
Okay. So the bridge. So I mean, I don't think unless they listen to the episodes where we have talked about him. Me and Ryan have a mutual friend, Adam, who passed a few years ago now. And when Adam had passed, like I thought I had a pretty good handle on death and dying. I had volunteered in hospice. I had talked Oscar's proverbial ears off about death and dying. But when Adam left, it really like threw me for a loop and like it had me questioning everything that I had ever thought. And I really reached out in like prayer and meditation saying like I need support with this, like specifically to Adam and to Oscar and just the universe in general. And within a few weeks, I had a client that I did somatics with reach out and she was like, "Hey, my nephew um, has some like really special things happening in his life, and like he would like some support. Like, are you willing to work with him?" And I was like, "Send him over." And I won't say his name. I'm sure he would be fine with it. He's like the most lovely young man in the world. But he had contacted me and reached out. He had been in an accident and died when he was 17. And I think was in, if I'm not mistaken, a coma for quite some time after. But when he had passed, he left his body and was above the scene of the accident. His family was around, and then they went off in the ambulance, and he was standing at the back of the ambulance and like could see everything the paramedics were doing. I'm pretty sure there was something there speaking to him. But anyway, I was like, okay, this is happening. Like I'm starting to get what I asked for and needed. And then about a week later, I met up with another friend, and his boyfriend had died in a head-on car collision and came to in the car um, thinking he was in his body, but he wasn't. And his grandmother was beside him, ushered him out of the car. She has already passed, his grandmother, and talked to him. Another guide showed up and walked him through how his life would go if he kept living the way he was living. And he was a gay man. He got to come out to his grandfather who had passed. Um, like this whole beautiful experience occurred, but I think it's really fascinating that when you really tell the universe you need support, it can show up in these like phenomenally magical ways. Like, what were the odds? I had never had anyone come to me that had survived death. I had never had these type of clientele, and I asked out of like a literal sheer desperation, and they came along not when I demanded them, but within a few months. But yeah, that bridge of it's all okay. Sometimes when I'm having a really bad time in life, I just watch videos of near-death experiences, and it's true. I've talked to my therapist about it. I was like, "Is that a weird coping mechanism?" He's like, "Does it work?" I was like, "It does." He's like, "Well, then it seems okay." It's like, cool. It's like I've never heard of this coping mechanism. I was like, "Yeah, I'm a little different."
That's I like their response.
Does it work? It's not hurting you.
That's when you know
the
you
point.
have a good therapist. Like
Yeah.
withholding of the judgment and getting to the heart of the matter about the
Yeah.
I remember years ago I told my therapist, I go, when I tell you some of these other things, you're gonna think I'm crazy, the paranormal stuff. And I told him about one of my experiences, and then he's like, "Well, I don't care what it was. I care about the effect it had on you."
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like, "Okay,
I
I like this person."
mhm. I went out of my way to get a very and like not that the physical form matters, but I wanted the energy of like a very masculine, very in the mind, rational therapist because I had never had that. I've always had very like nurturing, heavy emotion, like let's cry about it therapist. And this guy's like, you can think about it that way, or we could think about it this way. And I'm like, oh, we could just think about it differently. And he's like, mm-hmm. So it's interesting. This is like the therapist for my mind, where the other therapists were for like my body and my soul.
That's interesting. And
Pretty good time.
it comes back to the all or nothing thing too. It's like just because you think of an experience in a certain way doesn't mean it's impossible to think, you can think of it in a different way.
Well, he was explaining to me something, and again, I've not read the papers on this, I've not read the research, but he said so and so discovered by studying babies that babies have black and white thinking. So either they are looking at mom with so much love and oh my God, it's mom, or they're screaming and everything's wrong and get away from me, everything's bad. He said, as you age, you have the ability to start merging the black and the white into the gray. But he said that the gray, for most people's experience, if they hang out in it too long, starts to cause depression. Like when everything like has nothing's good or nothing's bad, like the most amazing person in the world in the Epstein files or the, like the Deepak Chopras, actually horror. And then he used the example of like, there are probably some paintings that Hitler made that were pretty. So he's not this like, nothing's all bad and nothing's all good. But if you stay in that space, he said it kind of causes the mind to get depressed. So a lot of the time, we kind of hang out in the black and the white, come to the gray when we need to.
Yeah, and I suppose if we hang out in the gray the whole time, we'll never be able to make a choice or decision.
Yeah, that's another good point. And oh man, decisions are hard.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess if we're in the gray the whole time, inaction is the name of the game.
Yeah, and honestly, I kind of internally pushed back when he said the gray causes depression because I think it could also bring freedom, like pure expanse. Like there is no right or wrong.
Well, I think
But
is that the Buddhist thinking of like the no attachment to the this or that?
Yeah, in the middle path.
Other. Yeah,
the middle path would be gray.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, it's something too that, to me, what I really love about this, is, these occurrences of these two different people coming into your life at this time, after you make an ask. First of all, it shows us the power of making ourselves vulnerable, and admitting we don't have all the answers, and which is tough for, I think, probably all of us to do. I don't like to admit I don't know what to do. It's very rare that I think that's like my first choice of like, oh, you know what I'd love to do right now? Admit that I don't know. Or that I don't know what I'm doing. Like, that sounds like fun. That's never like the top of my, like, what do we want to do on Saturday? Oh, let's all be vulnerable and admit that, we're all lost, and hoping someone will guide us and make us feel safe.
Yeah. Please. Oh my God. Yeah.
But like the near-death experience from these two people, I think, at least what I'm picking up on is like the power of shared story. And we don't have to experience something ourselves to be profoundly affected by it.
Yeah. And there was a third, but I felt like a block. I was like, I'm not gonna tell that story. I don't know, maybe they don't want it told. But I also died when I was 7. I think 7, close to 8. I got OD'd on anesthesia, but I didn't have this big, profound experience. I think I've told you about this before. Have I told you about this?
If you have, it's been a while, and I'm not exactly remembering the details.
The possum in the trash can.
Oh,
great title for the episode.
Yes.
Yeah. So it wasn't like this like mythical, like, whoa, God's real experience, but it was like, you're faking dead. Like my soul telling a little ditty, but like, you're not really dead. Hold on. Possum will wake up. You'll get out of the garbage can. Like everything's fine. But like, Like in the interrogation light hanging over a rattling garbage can falls over, possum walks out. I come to doctors, the light.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening? But again, as like a kid, that memory and the association of that like being a near death experience doesn't hit the same way. And I really didn't even think about it after Adam passed. Like I didn't have that in my mind as any type of reassurance.
Well, it's interesting too for someone who's been on the journey that you've been on and do the work you do to have that at such a young age, but not have it register as a monumental, at least seemingly from what the way you're describing it, as one of the monumental guideposts, like the trail markers on this hike of life that you've been on. That it's not like
Yeah.
the big one that's ornate and like made with copper and steel to make with detailed, the sign markings that you think of like almost every day.
We
Uh,
can thank my very nonchalant Virgo mother for that. Like nothing was a huge deal. And like I remember her being like, "Well, if I made a big deal about it, you would have thought it was a big deal."
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's really funny.
She didn't want to
It,
scare me.
that feels so
Yeah.
Virgo.
Yeah. She's really funny.
That feels so Virgo to me. From the Virgos
Hmm.
I know, I'm just like, oh my God, you just
Yeah.
nailed them.
Yeah.
The
You lived, you're fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's for dinner? That's what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking about.
Next.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Which I mean, there's something to that, I guess. Keep
Hmm.
moving forward, always keep going. But
Hmm.
you know, not to the
Yeah.
detriment of like maybe acknowledging an almost death maybe for a child.
Hmm.
But that's really
Do you know anyone that's passed and survived?
yes. We have a mutual friend, I believe, who's had what would be an
Oh,
MD.
yes. Okay.
Um, and I'm trying to think.
Oh, two. We have two, I think.
Yeah, I think we do have two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Hilarious that I'm like, do you know anyone? You're like,
yeah.
yes, the two people you know also.
Well, it's funny too because I mean it's not something that's in the forefront of my mind all the time, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but
I
also
always
yeah,
forget. Yeah, yeah, or yep. Well, it's a Mario.
yeah, Mario. And
Yeah.
it's wild too because I think back to the times in my life where I may have been close to one or something, and
Hmm.
I I mean I've had like almost killed experience, but
Scary.
not even super that close. I mean, there's probably some that I'm not even aware of, right?
Hmm.
I think all of us have probably dodged death by like a second, and we
Hmm.
don't even realize it.
So
Maybe
many.
multiple times, right? One time I fell off in a barn at my grandparents' farm. They had all the hay in there, barrels of these like the rectangles of hay in their
Hmm.
barn in the corner stacked, and we would move the stacks around and you could build like a castle fortress.
Been
uh,
there.
and so fun to do that as a kid. And so now you have like this giant hay fort in a barn that is like maybe 2 stories high or however
Yeah.
tall it is. And one time I fell off the top, or I fell off pretty high up on my back, and I was just completely knocked windless. Had no, and
Yeah.
I'm just laying on the floor of the barn, and who knows, I may have been out for a minute or two. I don't know. And I just remember my aunt, uh, she worked the farm there, and it was like her operation, and she had like a house on the back property, and she just like comes over, and I think it was my aunt, and she's just. I open my eyes and I just see her looking at me. Ryan, Ryan, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, I couldn't breathe, right? And
Oh
like
my God.
I don't know, like if I was out, or my aunt probably wouldn't even remember this if I brought it up to her because I don't think I've ever brought it up to her. But that's probably the closest I ever came to like really maybe accidentally dying on my own by just being
Mm.
careless or something. Um, but it wasn't a moment of like my life flash in front of me. There was none of that. There was none of that stuff happening.
Yeah. 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 I really feel like if you get like a nice life review or you're visited by some kind of entity, you really designed that into your incarnation before you came in. Like you're like, and then we will die. We're gonna figure out all how the universe works. We're gonna come back, and then we're gonna be a spokesperson. And like I think that a lot of people, like especially if you've ever been on those like near death experience YouTube channels, my God, they're uplifting.
I
Like
mean, and
everything's
it's,
good.
it's, let's talk about that. Let's take
Yeah.
one last break.
Okay.
And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about NDEs a little more and,
How uplifting death is.
how uplifting death can be. And, quite frankly, it's like so exciting to think about, in conjunction with, reincarnation studies, NDE studies, paranormal investigation, communicating through ITC devices with energies, intelligences, spirits, or whatever on the other side of the physical form. Um, it's like the mountain of whether it's anecdotal or circumstantial evidence, etc., that just exists out there. And the
Hmm.
one thing it all has in common, and we're going to talk about that when we come back. I got Jessica here. Oscar's hanging around, tossing a baseball around, which I love. I'm sure he's a Cincinnati Reds fan. I love that for Oscar. So
Yeah.
that's the team I'm counting on Oscar bringing some luck to my boys this year. But we're going to be right back after this short break. And we're back. Okay, so I've got Jessica here, and we're getting into some deep stuff here. So I like this. Now, when we're talking about like all the ITC paranormal investigation work, whether it's EVPs, spirit communication through mediums, through channels, we're talking about near-death experiences, and just the thousands and thousands and thousands of people who have had near-death experiences and have come back to life to tell us the tale. Just between those two segments uh, of evidence, not to mention reincarnation studies and things like that, uh, there is an overwhelming amount of evidence of life after this particular physical form. And it is overwhelmingly similar in messaging. That's not to say all ITC messages, like you might have a ghost box going and you might have like a dark energy come through and be like, I'm gonna burn the house down or whatever. But we're not talking about that. But the overwhelming message seems to be kind of hitting on the same theme, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and in regard to like the more negative messaging, I do think there's polarity. So I liked the idea of a completely benevolent universe, but I think that there is polarity because the whole can't be here without the all of it. The all of it. Um, but yeah, I'm getting distracted because for some reason he keeps showing me the baseball and the words, or not the words, the letters TV are on it, and he keeps showing me the letters TV, and I have no idea what he's on about. And then he keeps showing me like what I'm interpreting as like radio frequency, and then he'll show me like a television and TV on the baseball. I don't know what he's talking about.
I wonder if he wants me to watch less baseball on TV this year or watch more because, I mean, I do watch a lot of baseball on TV because it's on during the middle of the day on the West Coast, which is nice
Yeah.
for the East Coast team. And also a buddy of mine, we had an idea of doing a baseball podcast, like a video podcast where we watch a game on TV and do the play-by-play calling of it.
That very well might be what he's doing right now, because I was like, this is really strange. Why does he keep showing me TV on the baseball?
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, he's showing me my future because I'm definitely going to be ensnared
Yeah.
by baseball on TV. The winters, it's a long, cold winter for me because there's no baseball.
Mhm.
But anyway, I think like when it comes to like the overwhelming like messaging of, unity, love, peace, finding meaning, letting go of trivial BS,
Mhm.
attachment to physical goods, material goods. It
Yeah.
seems to be just extremely overwhelming and unifying. You could even argue that's the same messaging that most contactees with, whether you want to call them ETs or non-human intelligence, That's the overwhelming message there as well.
Yeah, and the one theme, like when I was hitting the near-death experiences hard over the fall, I was a little sad, and I was like, I was gonna watch a million of them. Was the idea that, like, especially people that get the life review, they were presented with like the sensation of how they made other people feel,
Oh,
to
wow.
give them an idea of like their impact in the world, like times they made someone feel really good or safe and loved, and then times maybe they bullied someone or betrayed someone or did something that hurt someone, and they got to feel it from the other person's perspective. And I think
Hmm.
that it's like, and I've said this for as long as I can remember, like the only rule that matters is the golden rule, and it's that you treat others how you want to be treated. A lot of the bullshit in our world wouldn't be happening if people, unless they're like sadistic, but then you see a good agreement.
Yeah.
There's
And
a
I mean,
whole realm for that.
yeah. And it's like, and you see why some of these people who are at least able to achieve this to a higher level than others can become revered in such a way because it's so
Yeah,
difficult to maintain.
yeah, yeah. And then the like I was saying, like people coming in with an incarnation that they've set up, like maybe they're not supposed to figure that out in this life. I remember I met someone at a party once, and I was talking to someone about something spiritual, and he was like, "Oh, like I'm not joining this conversation. You're gonna try to make me believe what you believe." And I was like, "No, I don't care what you believe. Like, believe whatever you want." And that he ended up wanting to engage in the conversation, and he kept presenting it as though he thought I was going to try to convince him to be other than he was. And I was like, "I'm pretty sure maybe you're just here to have a good time." Like, just do that. Like, I don't care what you're doing. So like different incarnations, different strokes.
Yeah, and that seems like a you thing that's happening right now,
Yeah, yeah.
more than a me
Lo
thing.
and behold, a couple years down the road, he's a very different person. Like, I wonder if he
Yeah,
ever thinks about that friggin' conversation
yeah, that's
where I
interesting.
didn't try to make him change. Yeah, yeah.
Well, this idea too that we construct this event, this near-death experience event in our lives beforehand.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
it makes me wonder, like, why don't I do that every time? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, and who knows, maybe I still have one on the horizon.
Ooh.
I'm not trying to manifest a near-death experience
Don't get
necessarily,
very close. You stay here.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm not trying
Yeah.
to, like, roll the dice on that. Um, but it seems like, oh my gosh, how could you not
Hmm.
put that piece on the board in advance every time? Uh,
Yeah.
because of the seeming. Now, I'm not trying to be flippant about it because I'm sure some people have physical um, problems, for the rest of their living life after a near-death
Yeah.
experience. So I'm not over here trying to be like every near-death experience is a gift and should be embraced and we should want it. And there's probably some
Yeah.
people who have had them and been like, oh, well, you want to tell that to my catheter bag or to, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
not
And
trying
there's
to make
people,
light of it like that.
I've heard of a lot of people that have a near death experience that is like just blackness and nothing. And then I've heard of some people that have had like kind of scary ones. So it's not, we don't black and white, as we've already talked about.
Yeah. And to me, God, when we think about it, it can be, I don't want to simplify it,
Yeah.
but, to me, death is probably the simplest thing in the world. Like, it's just, you're born, you die.
Hmm.
And in that way, it's so simplistic.
I heard Oscar go, that is the situation. It's like, yeah, that's really
And
funny.
but
Yeah.
and yet, like, it just goes to show how obsessed we are
Hmm.
in so many ways, and in certain sociologists or scientists or psychologists, they would say that it is like everything that we're obsessed with. I've got a book I haven't read yet. It's called Worm at the Core, and it talks about that and how certain people would argue that the entirety of Western civilization has been built upon the fear of physical death,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
religions have been created to assuage our fear of it or whatever. But it's the simplest thing, and yet it is like it just goes to show how the simplest thing in the world can be the biggest thing in the world, oftentimes, if we let it.
Yeah. Yeah. He's showing like DNA strands, and he's showing like it's all to advance the code. He's showing like the desire to live, the
Oh,
desire to stay, advance the code. And he's showing like from the beginning of time, it's been to advance the code. And I'm not sure what this is in reference to. Yes, I am apparently. Never mind. So he's showing like light traveling and like hitting a rock, and he's showing what happens to the energy of that light wave when it hits the rock. And he's showing that's what happens when you get to the end of a life. It's the energy and the light wave doesn't go away, it just stops traveling in that direction.
oh, interesting.
Yeah. He's asking if that was like a simple enough. He made a joke about being a rock in a hard place. He's like, is that a simple enough analogy of like what is this?
Well,
Okay.
I
Mm.
love this idea that we are light,
Mhm. Yeah,
just
yeah,
to like in
yeah,
a, kind of in an artistic metaphor kind of way, that our
yeah.
life can be a light, and I guess we get to
Hmm.
decide what kind of light we're going to be
Hmm.
while we're here.
He said it's not a metaphor.
Oh,
He said it's not a metaphor. He said it's a reality. I'm gonna Google what happens
what happens when light hits a solid surface?
when, yeah, this should be basic physics, but
Well,
um,
yeah, I'm not a physicist, but does it? Yeah,
yeah,
I wouldn't know what to tell you as far as an answer goes to
yeah.
what happens.
It can be reflected, absorbed, refracted, or scattered, depending on the properties of the surface.
Oh, okay, yeah. I guess that's why people on the West Coast like to have white cars because it is more reflective, and the color black is more absorbent. So
Yeah,
your car will be warmer if it's darker colored when the sun is out.
yeah. I was like, what happens when it hits a rock? And it's the same thing. It depends on the rock. It's interesting. So he's showing like this is interesting. Apparently he wants to talk. So he's showing like hitting the rock and like the surface, is it going to be reflected, absorbed, refracted, scattered? He's showing what is the components of the light, like what's in the energy. He's saying back to your point of like you can decide like what light you want to be. So he's showing like turbulent, dense, like he's showing anger hitting. He said maybe scatter. And he's showing like multiple little ghosts popping up and cruising off. He's showing absorbed. He's showing a Buddhist monk. Reflected. Showing me a swan hitting water and going through it. I don't know what that
Oh,
means.
wow.
Yeah, the imagery. He's never let up. So, um, yeah. So he's showing. He said that's that.
Well, thank you, Oscar. I mean,
Oh, it's so
I
funny.
love to. He's like, no, this is
Yeah,
not a metaphor. This is actually what it is.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
He's showing. Yeah, he said this is how it goes. I love the Leonard Cohen song "Traveling Light." Have you heard that one off his last album?
I'm sure I've heard it, but I can't place it.
Yeah, like he's playing on words of like traveling light, like not having much with him, but he's talking about his own death that's coming and about being traveling light,
Oh,
like the
wow.
light spectrum. Yeah, it's a really beautiful song. If anyone wants to hear it, it's on every platform.
Wow, that
And
fits
here,
perfectly into exactly what Oscar just described.
yeah, yeah, that's why it came up in my mind. I was like, I love that song.
Oh my
I'll have to
gosh.
listen to it later.
I wonder after our light hits the rock in this specific iteration,
Hmm.
um, if depending on like the quality of light it is, whether it scatters, it's reflected or absorbed,
Hmm.
does that dictate like does the light just reform for another go around? Does it recollect or is it dependent on what it did when it hits the rock?
It's interesting. So he's giving a bit more insight into like the type of death and the way someone dies can like also kind of dictate what kind of surface you're hitting when you go. Like if it's a sudden, he's like a sudden impact and you're just out. And he's showing we could call that, and he's again showing this is all analogies. Like we could call that like just being absorbed. Like that soul's just whoom, and then they're in the astral, they're out of body, and they're having whatever experience they're having there. Um, okay, so he's showing like that's a sad one. He's showing someone like succumbing from like an addiction or like he's just showing someone with a lot of like pain in their life and a lot of suffering, maybe that's gotten out of their hands. He's showing maybe like a scattering or like a fragmenting of the light. Um, yeah, so he's showing that's not a bad thing. He's showing all souls don't continue on in their specific energetic format. Sometimes things scatter. He's showing sometimes things evolve. And he's reminding that mutation is one of the strongest, what are we calling that? He's showing like a chessboard. Showing mutation is one of the strongest moves that evolution can make. So when things happen in an unordinary way, say a soul completely scatters, he's showing that's not bad. Little parts are going to form new. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of something I just saw at a comedy show. My buddy Shane Moss and some scientists discussing. It was called Surviving AI. We went and saw a test run of the show, and one of the main themes was you would never be able to guess the moves that evolution will make to get to like the bird from the fish or whatever. Like you never would have been able to get it. It takes its own way that you never would have been able to ever predict.
Yeah.
And so that reminds me of that. I'm curious about the light when it comes to a near-death experience. Is the rock kind of like just a temporary? Does the rock have like a hole in the middle of it that it just kind of temporarily slows it down, or if there's anything
Yeah,
about
he's saying he's showing if the body can still hold the life, you can come back into the body.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting. He's showing that sometimes a choice, sometimes not a choice, right? Sometimes the person gets to choose if they want to come back or they can leave. Sometimes it's not a choice and they're sent back.
Interesting.
So,
and that's
it's interesting. He's pointing right back to the DNA. He's showing it's all in the code.
I was going to say, when you're talking about like the chessboard and everything else and like the mutations, I was like, oh, moving the DNA forward.
Yeah, and it's interesting. He's showing like he's showing the creation code, like the code of creation. Like creation wants to keep creating. That's what it is, and that's what it does. So the code needs to keep going. Yeah.
That's wild.
He goes, very exciting times, and then he pointed to like all of time. It's like, okay. And when you brought up AI, he did like a little like warning of like, and I understood what he was saying. He was showing like don't worship false idols, and then he showed like it's an equal playing ground. He's showing AI isn't better or worse than people. He's showing people shouldn't be like, apparently people shouldn't be worshipped above AI, and AI shouldn't be worshipped above people. And he's showing like it's going to be, he's showing rocky terrain.
Interesting. Yeah.
I didn't know. Sometimes when I'm like, well, let Oscar talk, and I'm like, wait, what have I said? I don't know.
Well, I love when Oscar pops in, even when it's unexpected. You know, this could be a whole nother conversation talking about like, you know, the moving forward of human evolution and, you know, what's on the horizon. You know, we finally had a US president just within the last couple of days say aliens are real.
Did he?
Barack Obama said just recently in a recently released interview that aliens are real. He said they're not at Area 51, but they're real. And
what a fascinating world.
And it's, you know, for a lot of the paranormal heads out there, there's like, yeah, this is a long time coming. Like, no duh, it's been, you know, going on 80 years almost since Roswell, and
some apologies are owed.
Yeah, right. But yeah, for sure. But it's, you know, it's a fascinating time to be alive, and it is also very turbulent. And you know, more turbulent in some parts of the world than others, for sure. But I feel like the magnifying glass of turbulence just kind of moves around the globe into different areas at different times.
Yep. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, he's showing like he's showing the magnifying glass like burning, like, you know, when people would try to get ants. I never did that, but someone has.
When you
But yeah.
concentrate the light too much.
Yeah, huh? Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, he showed a bomb.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. But
oh,
yeah, bombs. Sorry, he's pointing to the idea of like it's an open world concept here in reality. Like there's not a fixed structure to the game anyone needs to follow. He's showing creativity included. So like the idea that I'm obviously aware that aliens exist. I've had some experiences, but like the idea that they wouldn't be would really kind of assume a closed world structure here, and we don't have that.
100%. That's really well put.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I mean, this has been great.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
been
know
awesome.
how long we've been talking, but I'm sure it's been over an hour, if I had to
Yeah.
guess. Um,
Maybe.
I'd like to thank you for coming back on the show. Is there anywhere you want to point people to if they're looking for somatic,
Oh
work
yeah.
or
Yeah.
things like that?
Yeah. You can find me on Instagram at zen.lasagna, or you can email me at jlgillis, the number 7 at gmail.com, and maybe I don't know if you can pop that in the show notes. I delete Instagram all the time because I just can't handle it. So then I find I come back after a few weeks and there's people in my DMs and I'm like, oh shoot, like I probably
Yeah.
could have helped out, but I was not there.
Well,
So
you gotta.
emailing is the best way.
I ain't mad at you about that.
Thanks.
I've managed
It's been
to
so
kind of get
good
off
talking with
most of it,
you.
except for Instagram at this point,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
guess Facebook. But yeah, no, it's been great talking to you as well. I love this thing you got going on right now too, where you're at with your life, and what you're
Living the
doing.
dream. The British Columbia rainforest right now, surrounded by cedar. It's good stuff.
Incredible, incredible,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, he keeps showing me like a very shiny gold baseball card. Don't know
Oh,
what that's about. It's like very gold. He's like highlighting this is gold, gold, gold. So I don't know what that's about, but that's what he seems to be leaving me with
okay.
is a
I mean,
shiny gold
I'd love to,
baseball card.
rip a gold baseball card, buy me a house maybe.
Yeah, it's
If I
gold.
randomly open up one of those kind of cards. The
Hmm.
uh anyway, so yeah, that'd be rad. But well, thank you, Oscar, for popping in. Appreciate the
He's doing one
insight
of
as
these.
always. And
Yeah.
and Jessica, this has been great.
Yeah.
And we'll do it again, relatively soon. Get you back on the new format and have some more fun and have some more convos.
Yeah, I love it. That's amazing. And next time, maybe I'll share some old Celtic ghost stories from my grandmother's side, because they have
Oh,
some women that heard banshees before family members died. So we can get into some of those stories.
oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. But
Hell
thank
yeah.
you. I appreciate coming on so much. I love chatting with you.
Yeah. I mean, the pleasure's mine as always. So thanks again. And check the show notes for that contact info if you're listening. And yeah, and in the meantime, take care of yourselves out there. And we'll see you at a live show maybe, or we'll see you at the watering hole on the astral plane.
Now receiving frequency transmission.
I think ideas come from everywhere. On one hand, I believe our subjective experiences present ideas to us through circumstance and everyday happenstance. Sometimes answers are provided to questions that we didn't even know to ask. I think ideas come from our heart, that they are born out of our feelings. I also think ideas float above us in the ether, and that in extreme moments or instances of heightened sensitivity, we are capable of accessing them from some sort of vast shared cosmic consciousness stream. Sometimes I suspect ideas are passed down from unseen higher intelligences, downloaded like Philip K. Dick's gleaming pink light. But I also think some of the most fascinating and transformative ideas come from what Dick called the trash stratum, from lowbrow pop culture like comic books, paperbacks, monster movies, and the like. I think the universe is itself an idea, one that we shape together.
Transmission complete. Stay tuned to SpectreVision Radio. Stay.